Let's give our praises to the Most High, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, whose true name in the ancient Hebrew is Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, which in the ancient Hebrew is the Rakak Kwadash. Double honors to the elders of GMS who taught us his truth by the Holy Spirit. Honors to the brothers risking their life and freedom to push the gospel. Peace and blessings to the elect, who would be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who make up the lost 12 tribes of Israel according to scripture and prophecy. The elect will be 1/3 of the Israelites who in the last days will return back to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to receive salvation. While the 2/3 of Israel who don't turn back to the Most High in time will be destroyed with America, and that's according to prophecy. We back with another lesson through the mercy of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. This is a World War III update. Ain't did one in a minute. Number 60, 70 something. I don't know. But it's going to be titled Nuclear War is Here. Yeah, nuclear war is here. And that don't mean they're going to start shooting off nuclear weapons today or tomorrow. But it's here. Meaning it's on the scene. So recently you had peace talks that's supposed to have been going on between Israel and Hamas, America and Russia. Those all failed. Russia and America was supposed to meet for a second round of peace talks. Well, that got canceled because we're in a time of war here at the end. And then also too, you got stuff going on in America, the government shut down, people not being paid, food stamps possibly being cut, paused, or no more. So people talking about robbing the grocery store, looting, stealing, what they gonna do. That's all cool. But what America about to find out, they got bigger problems than them not being paid or not. They got bigger problems whether they eat or not. You know, what they gonna eat, is they gonna have money. They gonna find out they got bigger problems. Why? Because nuclear war is being made ready, meaning it's on the scene. So that's what people about to find out. And see the whole food stamp thing, whether it's gonna be cut off or not, all the drama that came with that, all the drama, the government shut down. And you got these nations beginning to test nuclear missiles. Nuclear missiles being tested while people crying and arguing and crashing out over food stamps. But we're going to get into a handful of these videos. Bear with me.
Breaking news. President Donald Trump has stopped plans for his next meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. This happened after Russia said no to Trump's idea of ending the war in Ukraine along the current battle lines. The White House said there are no plans for a meeting anytime soon. The two leaders were expected to meet in Budapest. But now everything is on hold, as both sides refuse to back down and the war continues.
Okay, so the talks are not on hold. As it says down here, Trump cancels Putin meeting after Russia says no to peace. So you got both sides saying no. So that's not something being on hold. It got canceled, meaning the talks ain't happening. So yeah, they said the talks are on hold. No, they're not on hold. They're not happening at all. Both sides said no. So we wanted to show that. And this is happening while people panicking about these food stamps and everything else that's happening. But right after the talks between Putin and Trump were canceled, Russia went to testing nuclear missiles. Now he didn't test live explosions, like actually detonating a nuclear warhead. He's testing the delivery vehicles, missiles that's capable of carrying nuclear warheads. Now we're gonna get some of this video right here. And what it say? Russia's nuclear tsunami. Putin tests underwater drone Poseidon that could drown entire coast. So check this out. God damn it, bro. So after the peace talks were canceled, he tested this new nuclear-capable missile. A week after that, he tests underwater torpedo that's also capable of carrying a nuclear warhead. And that's new to the game. An underwater nuke, that's new to the game. And the Sarmat is a missile by Russia that's called the Satan II, which is the most powerful nuclear missile in the world. But Russia said they knew underwater nuclear torpedo is even stronger than the Satan II. So yeah, 1 week, so after the peace talks were canceled, he tested two kinds of nuclear capable missiles. This one right here, and then that nuclear torpedo. See that? October 29th, while y'all was panicking about November 1st and whether the food stamps going to be cut off or not, you got Russia testing the very weapons that's going to be used to destroy America. The weapons that's going to be used to destroy America was being tested while y'all was talking about looting and hollering for food stamps.
Just yesterday.
So yeah, that's that video. So we gonna get to the next one. And you see the title here. Trump directs Pentagon to test nuclear weapons. And this is after Russia tested their nuclear missiles. Now America, wants to test nuclear weapons. Because nuclear war, World War III, is what it's all coming to. Famine, civil wars, government shutdowns, crash of the US dollar, universal basic income. Hey, all this drama and confusion and all this stuff is going to boil down to nuclear war. That's what's going to top off everything. This is what it's coming to.
Trump says he's directing the Pentagon to start testing nuclear weapons. As reporter Connor Hansen shows us, the announcement sends shockwaves through Washington.
We have more nuclear weapons than anybody.
President Trump says he would like to see the U.S. resume testing nuclear weapons. His comments came ahead of his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, but it seemed directed more towards another adversary. This week, Russia said it tested a new nuclear-powered and nuclear-capable missile that can travel thousands of miles. It also unveiled a new underwater nuclear drone.
When I see them testing, I say, well, if they're going to test, I guess we have to test.
When you have a madman that has nuclear weapons, like Putin does, and he starts rattling his saber, it's important for the president to respond.
Democrats say the announcement is reckless and could constitute a major escalation.
So yeah, America testing nuclear weapons that could contribute to major escalation worldwide. Not Russia, but if America tests nuclear weapons, because the country's not really worried about Russia testing nuclear weapons, because most of the world is allied with Russia anyway, and then Russia is not a bully like America. So when Russia tests nuclear missiles, everybody chilling. But when America tests nuclear weapons, that's going to be that major escalation, because that's going to prompt these other countries to start testing nuclear weapons and to get ready as well.
A massive breach of international treaties that have been in place for decades.
It's a very dangerous ground that he would be setting, and it would only endanger our country.
It's unclear what.
So yeah, there's been international treaties that all countries will ban testing of nuclear weapons. But if America does it, they're going to be breaking international treaty, which America break all their treaties anyway. But we're going to get this next video.
President Trump's order to resume nuclear weapons testing. I'm joined now by national security expert and author Joe Cirincione. Joe, thanks so much for joining us. A lot of your work focuses on nuclear nonproliferation. What, in your view, is the danger of restarting nuclear tests?
Well, the United States currently enjoys an advantage in nuclear technology, nuclear knowledge. We have conducted over 1,000 nuclear tests since the very first in 1945, more than all other countries combined. So we now use that knowledge to use our advanced supercomputers and other techniques to simulate nuclear tests, to model nuclear tests. We don't need to explode these nuclear weapons anymore. If the president is serious about this and starts nuclear testing again, other countries will undoubtedly follow.
See that? So if America breaks international treaty and tests a live nuclear warhead, he said other countries are going to follow. Again, Russia didn't test a live nuclear warhead explosion, just the missiles that would deliver these nuclear warheads. But again, he said other countries will follow. So I titled the lesson, Nuclear War is Here. Because, peace talks have failed multiple times. Now they testing nuclear missiles, and other countries are going to do the same, breaking these international treaties that's been put in place. So it's here.
As you just noted, we'll start testing again. China's only conducted 45 tests. They would love to test again and break the moratorium. India, Pakistan will soon follow. The president may have inadvertently...
See that? He said China, India, Pakistan. He said they will begin to test nuclear weapons as well. Because this ain't the Cold War. This ain't the 1990s no more. America, not the only one with nuclear weapons. It's kind of like... If you out and about, you see one guy pull a gun out or put his hand on his hip, everybody else start reaching for their gun. That's what it's like. One person reaches for the gun, then everybody start reaching for their gun. That's what it's like, if America begin to test nuclear weapons. And we won't say if it's going to happen, because World War III is the end of this place. And when Trump say he's going to do something, he's going to do it, as we've been seeing. And it's not because he says so, it's according to prophecy.
Undoubtedly follow. Russia, as you just noted. If the president is serious about this and starts nuclear testing again, other countries will undoubtedly follow. Russia, as you just noted, will start testing again. China's only conducted 45 tests. They would love to test again and break the moratorium. India, Pakistan will soon follow. The president may have inadvertently started a dangerous new phase of the nuclear arms race that we're in currently.
If you
See, that said Trump will start a dangerous new phase in wars. And what's that new phase? Because we already in World War III. Most of the world is at war. So we already in World War III. But we're going to enter that dangerous, that new phase of World War III. Nuclear war. So that was that. We're going to jump to this next video. This could be the last one. Trump orders immediate resumption of U.S. nuclear weapons testing after 30 years.
And the countdown to global catastrophe has begun. Nuclear weapons.
See that? Countdown to global catastrophe has begun. So I titled the lesson, Nuclear War is Here. It's already begun.
And the countdown to global catastrophe has begun. Nuclear weapons testing erupts after decades of silence as Donald Trump orders immediate U.S. tests. The declaration from Trump came after Russia unveiled catastrophic nuclear weapons, including a radioactive tsunami, creating drone, escalating global tensions to unprecedented levels. Now, our next report explains how the world teeters on the edge of a terrifying new arms race.
So this is pretty much the continuation of the Cold War, which that was a nuclear arms race between Russia and America, which both countries was in a race to see who could develop the most powerful nuclear weapons the fastest. That's why it says resumption after 30 years. So World War III is going to pick up where World War II left off.
World haunted by the horrors of nuclear war, the unthinkable is unfolding.
See that? He said the unthinkable is unfolding. What's the unthinkable? The use of nuclear weapons.
The fragile, decades-long freeze on nuclear weapons tests has shattered.
So peace talks have failed. Trump and Putin went for a second round of peace talks. That was canceled. Then what did he say? 30 years of no nuclear weapons testing, he said it shattered. Meaning what? It's progressing towards World War III pretty quickly.
Nuclear weapons tests has shattered. The fragile, decades-long freeze on nuclear weapons tests has shattered. US President Donald Trump, just hours before meeting China's Xi Jinping, commanded the Department of War to restart live nuclear detonations, ending 33 years of restraint.
It had to do with others. They seem to all be.
So after 33 years of no nuclear weapons testing, now it's picking back up. Why now all of a sudden? Well, because we at the end. World War III is right around the corner.
Nuclear testing. We have more nuclear weapons than anybody. We don't do testing. We've halted it many years ago. But with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also.
And see, everybody gonna have the same idea. Trump said others are doing testing. He's talking about Russia. So he say he wants to do testing as well. And then the other countries are gonna do it as well, especially when America starts testing nuclear weapons. Because these other countries gonna know, they're gonna realize they pretty much need to be ready. And the reason other countries got nuclear weapons is to have some sort of a defense against America, to be able to stand against America.
The US did.
So that was that. We're gonna fast forward to the end of this video real quick. And something he gonna say.
One miscalculation, one radar glitch, one misunderstood signal, and humanity could stare into the radioactive abyss once more. The nuclear storm is no longer coming. It has already begun. Bureau Report.
See that? The nuclear storm isn't coming. It's already begun.
Once more. The nuclear storm is no longer coming. It has already begun.
So yeah, World War III has already begun. This is exactly war start. Countries start test firing stuff, making the other side feel threatened. So they start testing stuff and preparing and getting ready. And when they say test, they have to set up these systems and set up the equipment, bring things out of storage. So it's not like you can just go load up a gun real quick and shoot something. Though a lot of preparation goes to nuclear weapons testing. So pretty much they bring up all this equipment out of hiding, pretty much having everything ready. So yeah, we're gonna start here. Book of 1 Thessalonians 5:1. But of the times and of the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. It said the times and the seasons. What time and season are we in? Let me jump here real quick. Book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Time and season. What time and season we in? This is Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. So yeah, the time and season, what are we in? Well, as we begin to read, we're going to look for key words. And look at this in verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. So these things are happening because this is the time of World War III. So we know what times we in. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, see that peace and safety, and then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, they shall not escape. So every time they start talking about peace talks, there's another escalation in the war. Like, Israel, when Israel's supposed to be doing some kind of peace talks with Iran, they went and bombed them. And then look how Iran responded. Well, Trump and Putin supposed to have a second round of peace talks. That was canceled. So they went from about to have a peace talk straight to nuclear weapon testing. Pretty much overnight. Trump and Putin, both sides said no. Russia went to testing nuclear missiles. Now America wants to. So again, when they shall say peace and safety, this sudden destruction. After supposed talks of peace and safety, they took things to another level. Testing new weapons, nuclear missiles. So now we're going to jump here to the book of Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Woe means death, destruction. But what's the second woe that's already passed? That's World War II. And what? The third woe, the third World War III, cometh quickly. And when the scriptures say, cometh quickly, we're going to pretty much show that this means that it's already here. That it's already here, that it's already ready, that it's being prepared, that it's already on the scene. So we're going to look at this word quickly in the Greek. Because, people see that cometh quickly, to them, it's still out of sight, out of mind. No, for it to come quickly, it means it's already here. It's already on the scene. It may be behind the scenes, but it's already here. Quickly, G5035. It says quickly, speedily, without delay. So let's hit Strong's info. It says shortly, suddenly, readily. So World War III is coming shortly and it's coming suddenly. But it says readily. But let's get this cross reference G5036. And look what it says, prompt or ready. So behold, the third woe cometh quickly. The third woe is now ready. Now let's look up this word ready. So ready, it says in a suitable state for an activity, action, or situation fully prepared. So when it says the third woe cometh quickly, it means World War III is already prepared. The missiles are all already developed. It's not like they gotta go create these new missiles. They already here. They testing them. It's not like they gotta go dig these missiles out of ground because they testing them. That's why it says to be fully prepared or to be ready. When you look into this word quickly, that means something is now ready. Made suitable and available for immediate use. So that's the thing. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time to prepare the launch of missiles and nuclear missiles. You got to get out all these systems and equipment and weapons. So when it says made suitable or available for immediate use, once they start testing these missiles, it's already on the scene and ready for the real thing, for actual World War III. So when they test these missiles, they're not going to go put the equipment back up. No, everything is ready for immediate use. So them testing these missiles, meaning they're putting all this stuff out of storage. They're getting it ready for a test, but it's going to be ready for the real thing. Then we look at some of the words for the word ready. It says prepared. It says all set. And when you look at something here, it says primed up, all systems go. Other similar words for ready, it says prepared, readiness, about to, on the verge of, close to. That's the thing. When you test your weapons, you get the systems out. Now they're more accessible. So they pretty much can after testing nuclear missiles, they can shoot the real thing at a moment's notice. Why? Because the systems and stuff is already out, is already prepared. So yeah, something coming quickly means it's ready, meaning available or accessible, close at hand, within reach, at one's fingertips, immediate. And then we looked in the Greek, it said for immediate use. So World War III cometh quickly, pretty much meaning these things are already here. The missiles are already developed, they're already made, they're being tested, which meaning the systems and the delivery mechanisms is already set up for the real thing to be ready at a moment's notice. So now we will continue to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. We're going to get 22. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. So another word for battle is war. Great destruction, well, you should think of weapons of mass destruction. So a sound of battle is in the land, that's World War III. And of great destruction, those are the nuclear missiles. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon which would be America, Babylon the Great. How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Yeah, so Babylon the Great, America, who is the hammer of the whole earth, meaning America goes all over the earth, you know, policing everybody. Policing everybody, executing judgment on everybody, thinking they're the judge of the whole earth. Well, America, who's the hammer of the earth, the one who bullied everybody, the one, who bullied everybody, it says now become a desolation among the nations. So World War III, America who bullied everybody, everybody who feared America, America would fly through and drop bombs on you in a second. Out of all the countries, who would have thought that it would be America who would become a desolation among these countries? And that's the thing. If you ask people who's going to be the first loser in World War III, who's for sure going to be destroyed, nobody will ever guess America. But that's why it says, how is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Yeah, so out of all these countries, America going to be destroyed. Israel with them. I have laid a snare for thee, thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. What's that snare? That would be her pride. Goes on to say, the Lord hath opened his armory. Let's look up this word armory real quick. Armory. It says arsenal, arms depot, ordnance, ammunition dump. Let's look up the word arsenal. Hold on. Actually, here's the definition for armory: a place where weapons are kept, a supply of weapons. And what it say? The Lord hath opened his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. Those would be the nuclear missiles. That's why they testing them. They bringing them out of storage, out of the laboratory, doing live tests, making them accessible and ready for the real thing. But yeah, the Lord hath opened his armory. That's these nations bringing these missiles out of storage and starting to test them to eventually use them for real. For this is the work of the Lord of hosts. See, the Lord got these nations, making ready their nuclear missiles. In the land of the Chaldeans, this is America. So we're going to deal more with the Lord's armory and the weapons of his indignation. This is the book of Isaiah 13:4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, though the mountains represents kingdoms and governments, like as of a great people. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. And we know the nations are going to be gathered together for World War III. It says, and the Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. So that proves that this noise, a tumultuous noise, is dealing with World War III. That's why the word battle is in the same verse. And that battle, again, that's Jeremiah 50:22. A sound of battle was in the land and of great destruction. That's that tumultuous noise. But what it say? The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people. So the nations going to be gathered together for World War III, but this is talking about the nuclear missiles. It's not talking about actual people. That's why it says like a great people. Because World War III, you got your different players, the main ones being Russia and America, Israel, Iran. But another key player in World War III would be the nuclear missiles. Yeah, man manifested the missiles, but those are the Lord's weapons. That's why it goes on to say they come from a far country. Yeah, World War III, people gonna gather from all over, but also these nuclear missiles from the end of heaven. That means from the other side of the world. even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation. So yeah, America, Russia, they made nuclear weapons, but they were made for the Lord's purpose. These are his weapons, the weapons of his indignation. Then look what it say after. To destroy the whole land. What other weapon can destroy a whole land, an entire country, an entire landmass? Nuclear weapons. And that whole land that's going to be destroyed is America. That's why going back to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, it said, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? So out of all these countries, America is going to be the one that's going to be totally annihilated. The hammer of the whole earth. That's why I said the day of the Lord comes as a thief in the night. What's about to happen to America, most people will never see it coming. They'll have never guessed. But that's the Lord's work. But yeah, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation to destroy a whole land. So this is World War III. How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. So the day of the Lord is the destruction of America, because that's the Lord's doing. And with the destruction of America, you're going to have the salvation of the elect. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Yeah, the countries are going to shoot nuclear weapons on each other, but it's for the Lord's purpose. That's why it says destruction from the Almighty. So, these countries and these people, they're not even really in control of what they're doing. They couldn't have a peace agreement if they wanted, because this is the Lord's purpose, the Lord's doing. But that was pretty much it. Title of the lesson, Nuclear War. It's here on the scene, something like that. So yeah, them talking about and actually testing nuclear missiles, that's that dangerous new escalation. And when America finally does test nuclear weapons, these other countries know they're gonna have to get ready. So hey, this is closer than we realize. But these things won't take place after the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, is mandated. Because prophecy tells you that those who take the mark gonna be in the lake of fire. And the lake of fire is America when it's completely engulfed in nuclear fire. So yeah, man, they testing nuclear missiles, which something that hasn't been done in over 30 something years. So this thing is not turning back, and it's only going to move forward from here. So Lord willing, that was informative. Till next time, Shalom.